Hello everyone, welcome to the penultimate video tutorial of this project of Cisco Packet Tracer. So now for this video tutorial, we'll be exploring the concepts of DHCP. So now for R1, we will be typing in the IP DHCP excluded, then the IP addresses that will be excluded in the pool that we will be discussing later. So right now you have to exclude all the IP addresses for each VLAN that we have used. VLAN 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And for this DHCP, we will include all of them. So now, after excluding all the excluding DHCP excluded addresses, we are now ready to create our DHCP pools per VLAN. So you just have to type IP DHCP pool, then the VLAN name, the pool name. Then next is network. Then we have per pool we have to configure three things: the network address, the default router, and the DNS server. So for the network address, you just have to type the command network, then the network address of the pool, and then along with its subnet mask. Then second is the default router, or what they call as the default gateway. Usually people use the first usable address as their default gateway / router. Then for the DNS server, in this example, we just use the usual DNS server that people use, 8.8.8.8. But you could also just use your default router. That's fine to just use the same default router as a DNS server. And now we just have to exit. Then we have just to create IP DHCP pool for each VLAN, and it's just the same process for all the DHCP pool. Then as you can see, if we do the commands do show run, we can see all the DHCP pools that we created in R1. So now we just have to put the helper address. What is the helper address? The helper address will indicate the where the DHCP server is. So as you can see here, the helper address is being put on the G/0/0/0.2 and the G/0/0/0.3. And if we're going to test it, DHCP, it's successful. For each router that is connected to the each one router that is connected for the whole LAN, as we call it, you just have to put one helper address for each VLAN on our VLAN, yes, default router, and the DHCP will eventually run. And now let's move on to R3, and we are now putting all the helper address on each VLAN and encapsulation. Then if we're going to test the DHCP, it works correctly. And now let's move on to our legacy routing, where we also use the helper address. But for this, instead of using the encapsulation, we just have to put the helper address on each what do you call this port. The helper address is usually just the default address or the address of the router. That is what the default helper address is. That is the IP address of the router, or one of its routers. One of its IP address. Thank you.